Hey everyone. Hello. Nice to have you here. And yes, obviously there's a little bit different for the first time. It's actually possible to sort of subscribe to the channel, which you can do if you want, but you really don't need to. Anyway, Alvaro is here. Alvaro, if you don't know, is an incredible developer who has been building TresJS. Do you want to introduce that, Alvaro? Like what it is, what it does, how you came across the idea for it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for today that we can build something live stream. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous, but I build a lot of stuff in Vue and 3D, 3GS. But we were lacking in the community some easy way to use 3GS with Vue, right? There were some libraries before, but this eventually went to the point that to build my own because the other ones were not maintained. And I started in December last year, and then some people got interested and started contributing at the project, and we managed to finally have a version 2 with a custom view render, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And it has been everywhere on Twitter as well. People are very excited about it. So I think it would be great if we could actually build a module for it today. And I have not done any prep and I have not looked into it. So this is all going to be exploring for the first time. And I'm hoping you can help me along the way and tell me everything I need to know.
Awesome.
Just to confirm, oh heavens, are there ads? Are there ads? There shouldn't be ads.
That.
I've disabled ads. Is anyone seeing ads? I don't want that to be the case.
No, I have it
Yes.
open and I don't see it. That's weird.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to investigate that. I thought I'd turned it off. Right. Okay. So we can create a TresJS module using the sort of default Nuxt template, which we do by passing the template here with -t. So what does a Nuxt module need to do? I guess it probably needs to set up. Like TresJS. So what's the website?
I'm gonna paste it in the Twitch. So it's tresjs.org.
Cool. Beautiful. It is lovely. Like, I mean, the VitPress default theme, but you've done such nice things with the 3 symbols. And Alvaro also added, brought some stickers. Let's see. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is install some.
If I don't answer, it's because the audio gets cropped a little bit.
Yeah, you've got to sort of extend some. We're sort of cobbling together this way of pulling Alvaro in because what we thought we were doing didn't quite work, and totally my fault. Alvaro has a better way of doing things. Okay, so let's add some. I trust myself. Thank you. We're going to add a dependency to our library, which is 3 and TresJS core, and
Yes.
let's see. Whoa. Goodness me, thank you. Okay, so basically we have a sort of way of installing Tres. And it looks like we're probably going to want to do that in our module. So we're probably going to need a plugin, which we already have in place conveniently. And we basically just need to use trace, which is pretty straightforward.
Seems like we have issues with dropping frames. The same. with dropping frames. Like I'm checking the transmission live, and it's skipping frames. So probably that's the issue. Probably OBS.
Yeah, probably. See what I can do. Try and make this work. What if I drop myself? I'm not so essential to this whole endeavor.
You mean the camera?
Yeah. Does that improve things at all?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Let's see if it goes well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going...
I can hear you better.
I'm so sorry, people. My laptop is clearly on its last legs. Okay, so we've got our we've enabled trace, and what else will we do?
There are two ways that we can use it. There is the way with the plugin, but the plugin was really necessary in the version 1. In the version 2, all the components are actually tree shakeable, so you can only import the trace canvas. So I don't know what's better for the auto importing
Okay.
In the Nuxt module.
So, well, we can register all the components as auto-importable, if that's what you mean. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think it will be better because right now the Trace Canvas provides their own context, like it's a context provider. So you don't need the plugin anymore, actually.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll drop it and just enable some auto imports. So what we want to do is, well, first I'll rename everything. I guess probably this will be a PR to Trace itself rather than a separate module. So maybe I'll leave that to the end. So what we want to do is register some auto imports.
Yeah. So we could import like the two components that I use. Well, only one, the Trace Canvas one, because all the rest are the custom render.
Okay.
And the composables though.
Okay. So the components will have what are they? They're the trace canvas to start with. And what's the other one?
Yeah, I think it's only the Trace Canvas because that's the one that is hold the custom render API. So that's the main one.
Great. So we'll basically just add that. And we will import it from file path and name. So our name is going to be trace canvas. File path is going to be the TresJS core. And we are going to, it's going to be a named.
So it's going to be, yeah, a Trace core.
There we go. I think that should do it for us. Let's just start our playground and confirm that this is working.
Okay.
Well, that is what we're expecting to see. Let's see if I can find some. What should we be adding? We want this kind of thing, right? And I guess we'll immediately tell if the auto import has worked.
Yeah, if you use the Trace Canvas inside, at least you should be able to see in the DOM a canvas element with the 3GS injected.
Okay, so let's try that here. Oh, and I should install Volar. Great. So we've got...
This is gonna be really cool because we're probably going to go through the problems that most of the new joiners to the library have, especially at the beginning, like setting up the canvas, and sometimes the canvas is 0 pixels height and so on. So that's good that we start with this one.
Okay. Well, I mean, that is often the thing, isn't it? When you're trying something out as a user who doesn't actually know, this is me. I don't have the knowledge you do about the library. Okay, so we've got our app, and that's updated, and hopefully we should also then have a something in the DOM. Oh, not yet. Window is not defined. Aha! Well, that is not an unreasonable problem to have. So the window is not defined probably means that we have something that is running on the server to render the page, and it's not able to do that because the server can't render 3D. So what are we going to...
Correctly.
So, okay, so basically this component, it should only be called on the client side, right?
Yes.
There we go. So we can register this as a client component, which should mean... we have to restart the server when we're making changes to the module like this. If you're building a local module in a project, it will auto restart if you change one of your own modules. But in this case, we're building a module like in the module template, and you do have to restart it there. Let's see.
What I normally do in Nuxt, because to clarify the audience, like you can use TresJS right now in Nuxt. You only import the components, but you can use the suffix like dot client yes to use it, or the client only.
Okay, and this is basically doing this for... Are you saying Raycast is a memory-heavy app? I think the real problem here is that we're using Discord to
Raycast. Yeah.
Well, I have never considered quitting Raycast before, but I will try it now. Okay, so it's a blank page, but I think it is working. We have a div, we have a data scene in there that, like, this is what we want, right?
Okay, let's check Nuxt inside this. Yeah, it looks like, okay, there is a canvas, and we can confirm that it's working because it has the data scene, and it has the engine 3GS and the latest version that you install. So far so good. If we want to see something, we will need two things right now. We will need the camera inside of the canvas, and also the Tres Canvas component takes the size of the parent component. So if the parent has a height of 0, it's gonna take 0 of height. So we will need to put some I don't know, height 100% or something into the Nuxt, the div that is the parent.
Okay, so we can do that here and basically just say we can always try switching to Google Meet or something like that. Okay, so we've got a full page canvas.
Okay, so let's check if the canvas has some height. Yeah, it looks like it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So now the next thing is going to be add a camera. because right now the canvas is empty because we don't have a camera that is recording the objects that we have inside. So if we go to the playground and we add a Tres perspective camera inside.
Great. And I'll look at the first scene example as well in the...
Okay, so it does have Intel inside.
Now this won't work because we haven't told...
Should we try the Google Meet?
Yeah, let's give it a try. Sorry everyone, we're going to drop this video and reattach, hopefully one which is less laggy. I think ping.gg probably would help, and probably I will have to end up using that. Let's just try that instead. I mean, later. We'll go for Google Meet for now. For goodness sake, quit. Honestly, what is it with my computer? Like, I really don't have a lot of extra stuff on unless it's Arc itself. Okay. But for whatever reason, okay, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and just sort this video out. Hey, Natalia, hello. Nice to see you. Okay, let's swap to a different browser, I think, and I'll send Alvaro an invite to the call. And I'll see everybody in a second. For what it's worth, I'm still here. I'm just using my screen to hopefully make this connection. See if Safari can sort things out for us. We are back. I very much hope. Can folk see Alvaro and me? Hopefully so.
I can see it in the stream. I don't see you. Now I see you.
Perfect.
Nice.
Okay, so let's see if we can get our local site up again in Safari.
Oh, I never tested in Safari. This is gonna be fun.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. I want this on the side, please. Great. And okay, so it's complaining obviously because Trey's perspective camera, it doesn't know anything about this. So do we auto import this? How does it expect this to be?
Okay, so this is an issue that we're having with the custom render API, because what like the wrapper is the view render API. So the view render API doesn't have a context about the Tres perspective camera, but inside of the context of the Tres canvas component, it does. So normally the fix is using in the view compiler in the options in Vite, we pass as a custom element to remove the warning. But it's something that I need to ask Evan how I can fix that.
Okay, so it will be fine on the client side, but not until then. So we'll need to pass something like is custom element.
Yeah.
What else starts with
Trace. Actually, I have the snippet. I have it in the documentation because it's a common issue, but let me just pass it to you. I don't know if there is a way of not having to do this on the user side, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the whole point of this, right? Is to make this not. Oh, okay. Cool. So okay, so we can configure that easily enough. And let's check that's done. No camera.
Even though it will work. Like,
oops.
Okay. So you uncommented it on the.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing with a little bit of delay. Give me a second that I see the app view again.
We're getting a hydration mismatch within the canvas.
Okay, now it's uncommented.
Yeah, it's uncommented. I think probably the thing to do, just to get this working, is to wrap it in a client only, which will prevent the mismatch. But we will need to sort that out and see what the actual cause of that is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably trying to do the component like the canvas in the server, which does make that much sense. It's gonna do it twice probably.
Okay, so we've got our canvas, we have a camera, and presumably we can display something.
Yeah. So the first thing that I use to see if it's working is passing a prop to the Tres canvas component to set the background.
Okay. What kind of?
So it's clear color, and then you pass a hex value as a string.
So that kind of thing, or does it need a hash?
It needs a hash. It also accepts like CSS colors, but let's go safe and just put a color there.
Okay, I think it's working.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, if I delay a little bit, it's because I'm seeing the screen sharing at the same time as in Twitch, so that's why I take a little bit to answer. Okay.
So basically, I have just got to go to ping.gg. That's what I've got to do. I hear it's made by this sort of reasonably competent streamer. So I will head up to that later. Okay, but we've got a scene rendering a nice dark color.
Nice. Okay, so now we can actually try to put an object on.
Amazing. Okay, what kind of thing will we drop in?
Maybe we can copy and paste the same as in the Stack Blitz. So last week I was surprised, but the Stack Blitz team actually added a new template that you can use, and it has like a nice scene. Really simple. It's a cube that is rotating. Or we can take him from. Well, let's do it by hand. Let's not copy and paste. So what would you need to do is stress mesh.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay, first mesh, and let's use the torus geometry. Oh man, I'm really delayed. You're actually entering the Stack Blitz right now.
Let's see if I can share my screen with you and actually at least you get something.
Yeah, to make the conversation a little bit fluid. Okay, now I can see.
Go away. Ugh. Alvaro, there you go. At least you're slightly bigger. Okay, so I've pasted a trace mesh in.
Okay. With the torus geometry, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And
cool.
it's got a basic material of orange.
Okay, so the basic material will work without lights, so that's the cool thing. But probably right now, if you refresh, it might not be visible. Oh no, it is. It's there. Okay, awesome. We have an orange donut right away.
Great.
Cool. What else can we do? So part of TresJS ecosystem is that it's not only the core package, because we what we have right now, you can do everything that you will do with 3GS with the core. You only need the core package, and you can build whatever you want as in 3GS. But we have another packages that are meant to be like DX, okay? So abstractions already made for a smoke effect or for the controls of the camera, etc. And that's the Cientos package. So if you go to cientos.tresjes.org, this is the package with all the different abstractions and composables. One analogy will be like the view use for 3D or for TresJS.
Amazing. Animations, environment, parallax, stars, smoke, and presumably this is because this is built on top. Yes,
Yeah.
I see. You don't actually have to. It's not a requirement, but it's a lot of nice utilities.
Yeah, like 3GS is complex. Like if you do vanilla 3GS, you often have a spaghetti code of a lot of lines, and you have to use classes and stuff. So I like the way that you can do it with view components, because all the components are gonna be like scoped, and then you can share a state with the composables. So it makes sense to use it with Cientos. You can expand everything that you will do with the core package, and that opens the door for any like the API of the core for anyone that wants to contribute and create another package. You will be able to connect as Cientos does with the core package.
Cool. And was that just hot module reload when I basically change the color, that was instant.
I
That
try to be instant, but it's not perfect, to be honest. It works sometimes. It's a complex topic because what we do is we use Vite under the hood, right? So we list to the hooks whenever the HMR is triggered, and we had to dispose the memory. So we had to
yeah.
dispose the geometries and all the materials of the scene, and then put them again. So sometimes it will not work. The only thing that you will need to do is reload it, and it's gonna be fine.
Okay. It seems to be working pretty well, to be honest. Uh, like you know how slow my computer seems to be at the moment, and I'm dropping these things in, and it's there by the time I switch back to the tab. So it
Nice.
seems pretty good. Uh, okay, so well, it seems to me like one thing we would probably want to do in a Nuxt module is give some type support for all of these different trace elements, because it's great that it's supported by the renderer and is tree shaken, but we probably want to. I mean, I guess I would ask, how is it tree shaken? And because presumably you're using, is there a Vite plugin or something that you'll be doing to make it tree shaken?
No, right now we don't have any plugin, and for the types, it should take the types from the library itself. So l- let's get back to the how do you say, to the VS Code. It should be out the IntelliSense working. Like you should be able to see the types.
I think
Maybe it's
probably,
because we are not doing the import, right?
yeah. So I think we'll basically need to tell Nuxt about this. So the good news is it should be simple. So we can hook. Oops, not options. We're going to hook into prepare types, and we can add in references. We can do references, push, and we'll want types and just TresJS core.
Yeah, TresJS core.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
And again,
you can import the types using the Nuxt model, like establish where the reference come.
So I think, so presumably you augment global components, which is how Volar knows what these should be.
Okay.
As in, that's how you make it globally known, right?
No, well, there are not actually like any components being generated for the ones that are inside of the Tres canvas. So they work for with the custom render API. There is no actual component.
But how are the types generated?
The types are inherit from 3GS directly from the 3GS and wrap it by. It's the same way as React Fiber does it. They are inherit from the 3GS ones. Okay. Maybe we can. I know what is happening. Install the types for 3. That's
Yes, this is
this is the issue.
okay. So and the types from 3 are basically just at types /3.
Yes. Mm-hmm. My cat wanted to say hi.
Oh, hello. Look at that cat. It's so chunky.
It's all hair.
Yeah, so fluffy. Okay, let's see if something's coming through now. Because basically, I mean, I saw what you were doing. You were assigning the types here to global components. I think you probably want to do this.
Okay.
I think that is probably what you're going to want to do. Like this. But let's just see. That's because trace, yeah, you're basically adding trace, and then that's a very elegant way of doing it. That's really nice.
To be honest, it's all for appointment dress. Like I got a message from Cody. He's one of the authors. Because we were generating the types on build. The last time we talked, remember that we were working on a bit plugin for the generating the types, right?
Yeah.
He showed me this way, like to avoid doing it in build time and have it inherit. That's how they do it in Reactor Fiber version 9, and I thought like this is perfect.
Yeah. Just reloading the window to see if maybe there's an issue pulling in the types and just in the TypeScript server.
Okay. We can also try like importing the Tres canvas in the single file component to see if that works, and then we figure out the.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay, because if it works explicitly when importing it.
Yep. Also, TresJS is CPU heavy. Yeah, I mean, everything with 3JS is. Well, right now I'm trying to investigate about the API for GPU, but there is not that much done yet. You could use the models from market. Yeah, you can use the models from the market of Poimandres because they are CCO like CC0 models. Maybe we can use it later in the stream.
Yes, okay, it's all coming through now. So nice yellow volar knowing that this exists. However,
oh yeah,
yeah. So there we go. We've got autocomplete, which is great. Okay.
nice.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, good stuff.
Cool. Let's see what else can we do. So we were talking about cientos. Right now, if you go to the scene, you are gonna notice there is a still. Like you only see the donut, but it's not alive or anything. So we can actually control the camera by using the orbit controls, and that's a component that comes in the Cientos package. So maybe we can try to add to the module the auto import for Cientos.
Okay. So there's one there which is orbit control, but we also have quite a lot of others, and basically all of them are auto imports.
I will say yeah.
Or are they components?
No, they're in. Oh no, there are components though. Sorry. In Cientos, most of them are components. There are some composables as well, but most of them are components.
Okay, so the controls, and then I'm just going to... The loaders, those seem to be components. Okay, so basically, is it if the first letter is capitalized, it's a component? And if the first letter is lowercase, then it is not a component. Okay.
Yeah, we prefix all the one with use, like use GLTF.
Okay, so we can do a really simple approach here by just importing everything, and then using the keys of that. Hello. We have a visitor.
Nice.
This is the visitor. He has a hat on.
Don't know what's this.
Those are... that's medicine. If you have a headache, that can help. Oops, Santos.
That's a good.
Okay.
I don't need the stuff.
Do you want to wave hello to anybody? You can. Okay, so we can import it like that, and then we can add.
Don't know what's that? Medicine.
Const import.
I can't get it open. Why is it not getting open?
Do you want to go and see? Okay, so we basically have a series of imports, and we either will add them as a component, or we will add them as a composable, depending on what they are. So, if CentOS import starts with match sort of A to Z, then we are going to add it as a composable, otherwise as a component. So in this case, we're going to say add component.
Perfect.
And in this case, we're going to do add import. Great. So we're going to do the specific import here. The file path will be CentOS. The export will be the name. And will they all be client mode? I'm guessing not. It probably doesn't matter. We'll sort that one out in a second. So add imports, we're going to say from TresJS CentOS. And we're going to add the specific name as CentOS import like that. Great.
Okay.
So I think that should work for us. So if we restart, hopefully, we will have something that works.
I was thinking like because CentOS is not like 100% needed, but it makes sense that it's in the Nuxt module because at the end it's something about the performance. And since the aim is that they are tree shakeable, and it's not going to be the whole bundle of CentOS there, which is bigger than the core. So it's only going to take the ones that need it. Maybe I need to add some stuff inside of the packages to make it completely tree shakeable.
Why would it not be completely tree shakeable if we are able to do this? As in, what wouldn't be tree shakeable about it if we're doing it at point of use?
So Nuxt is going to take care of that. Like, I don't know if it needs to be tree shakeable on the package itself, like on CentOS, because I'm exporting each one of the components.
But that sounds perfect. So,
Okay.
yes, I don't think you need to do any more than that. Like if you have individual exports, then that would be tree shakeable at build time by Nuxt.
Okay, that sounds good. Awesome.
So,
So what we can do is add an orbit control inside.
great. So it knows it exists, and presumably we're going to get some typing for it as well. Excellent.
Yep. I don't see the screen well, but it's inside of the Tres mesh.
Yes, that's where I put it, but I can move it out.
Yeah, it needs to be in the just below the Tres perspective camera. Because at the end, the slots we're using is, okay, in 3GS, in normal vanilla 3GS, you can create a tree mesh by using a geometry and by using a material. So if you pass those components as slots in the Tres mesh, you're going to do exactly that. You're going to pass it to the constructor.
Okay, cool. Hey, welcome. It's a little bit chaotic today because of the my computer. I'm blaming my computer, but really it's
No
me
worry.
for not sort of setting these up. Okay, we've got I think orbit controls, but what am I expecting? Oh, does that mean I can move it? Yes. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That means it works. That's amazing. It works right away without imports. It's really nice.
That's beautiful. Okay, this is going to be a nice integration because it is going to be really zero config, I think, once we finish.
You don't
Once we
have to
finish,
import anything. It's just there. That's amazing.
it knows it exists. Good stuff. Okay.
Maybe we can animate the donut a little bit.
Animated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did the auto import of the composables of Cientos, but also the core package has some composables. And one of them is the use render loop. So that is the one that is going to give us the animations.
Cool. Okay, and that's in Cientos as well.
No, it's in the core. We
In the
can
core.
import the composables from the core.
Okay, cool. And we can auto import these as well, presumably.
Yes,
Well-
let me check the naming convention because it should be use as well. Yes.
Just making a note of your comment, Fanling. So I'll check and see about my OBS settings. Okay, we're going to want to do the same. I think we can presumably, again, import everything from core. Basically, let's see, what is that? Like, what is the core dot? Okay, so we have like default extend is prod, which we obviously we don't want those. But everything with use, those are all the composables that we can use, presumably.
Maybe the extend, yes, because the extend is important. It's a function because in 3GS, not everything is in the core. So 3GS has a lot of add-ons, and if you want to use the add-ons with the custom renderer, that's where extends comes in. So if you pass the constructor or the class to that function, then it's gonna be available on the custom renderer to use.
Okay. And that could be anything, any 3 related thing.
Yeah. Actually, the orbit controls are built that way because orbit controls are in another part of the repository of 3GS. And then you import it from there and you pass it to the extend function, and then you can use it with the tres suffix.
So
Prefix.
we might even want to do something like we want to use extend, but that's too generic to be auto imported. So we could actually import it as extend trace, which means that that everyone gets that, but it's not likely to conflict with something else.
I like it.
Good. Okay. Let's restart.
Actually, maybe I should do it on the core package.
Yeah. No, that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense. Okay, so how can we check if it's working? So we talk about animation. If we go to the app.view, in the script tag, we should be able to use the composable use render loop.
Oops. Yeah.
Okay, it's that one. So we are gonna deconstruct. We don't need to pass anything, just deconstruct. And there is a method called onLoop. Okay. So to give a little bit of context, the scene that we are seeing is doing a request animation frame under the hood. So it's taking, like, if you see the donut, that's one frame. So you need to tell 3GS to render all the frames in a certain time so it's visible. That's where request animation frame comes in. If you use 3GS, like plain 3GS, you have an animate function from the core, but you can also do it with request animation frame and a callback, and then just render the scene every time. You don't need to do any of that in TresJS because it's done by default by the core. but you can access the callback that is every like 60 frames per second using the on loop. So you pass a function to the on loop, and that's gonna be triggered every frame per second.
Okay. And so what kind of thing would we pass in there?
So inside of it, we will need to animate the box or the donut itself. This is one of the most important parts of like the TresJS or all the wrappers around 3GS. That in Vue we use reactivity, and reactivity based on proxies. So think that this function is gonna be called 60 times per second. So if we try to modify a reactive component or a reactive property to pass it to the like the rotation of the donut, it's gonna probably drop the frames per second down. So here's something amazing is by using the template ref. So if you pass a template ref to the tres mesh, let's say I don't know, donut ref.
Yep.
I often initialize it using shallow ref in the script because shallow ref is more performant than the ref.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense.
And then in the loop, I ask if dot value will the name of the ref
Yep.
dot value exists, and that's gonna return. That's the beauty about the custom render API. That reference is actually the TresJS instance. So it's the mesh coming from TresJS. And you can
Okay,
edit it as you want.
that's very cool. Which means that, that means we can probably type it as well and basically say it's like type of tres mesh or type of tres.
There is a tres object because it's an object. It's a generic one. Let's try it out.
We need to import that somehow. I don't think it doesn't know about that. So import tres from TresJS core. And does that exist?
No, it should be tres object actually.
Okay.
Import tres object.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so then we will know that this is that here.
Well, it's tres object, like literally tres object. That one.
Yeah. Is that not what I put here?
Okay, now.
I think. But for some reason, oh, this is it needs to. I need to tell it it's TypeScript.
To use the type.
Yeah, it was complaining, and I didn't exactly know why.
Okay,
great.
And then let's change the rotation. So what we can do is if the value is there, so dot value, dot rotation, and maybe we can rotate it in the y-axis, in the vertical axis. So it's going to turn around like this. So we can use plus equal.
Yeah.
Let's put a really small number like 0.01.
Okay.
And see what happens.
We're getting some complaints about types here, which is probably just an artifact of the IDE, but let's see.
Well, actually, it's a vector, so it's rotation. So we need to put the axis. So rotation y.
The problem here is I have disabled auto imports. Okay, we want. Sorry, say again. The rotation, not rotation, but rotation y. You said.
Yes, rotation dot y. Mm-hmm.
Dot y. Like that.
Okay.
And give it a sec. Ooh, look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, nice. So we set an arbitrary number, right? But this is gonna be different for a person that the screen is at, I don't know, 100 frames per second, and another device is 60 frames per second. So there is a way that we actually can give the user the same speed every time. In the callback, you can deconstruct in the parameters two possible properties. So one is delta and another one is elapsed. Shouldn't be accelerating. No, because basically you are adding a value of the rotation. It will be accelerating if you use plus equal and the elapsed time, which is the time since it start the clock. So delta is gonna give you the time since the latest frame. So from one frame to another frame is the delta. And elapsed is the time since the beginning of the clock.
I just added an auto import for this utility type because it seems like it would be quite a useful thing to have available if people are wanting to do things like this and create a ref that is. So now hopefully that is just available to us. Okay, now what did you want to do with delta and elapsed?
So we can change the 0.01 with the delta because this is going to be uniform in between devices. So it doesn't matter if it's 60 frames per second or it's 120 frames per second, it's going to give you the correct number every time.
And should it just be the delta? Yeah. Oh, it seems like it's the similar speed.
But now if we have another device that is double the speed, it's going to be at the same speed every time. If we weren't doing this, it's going to be way faster in the other one.
Okay. Cool. That is nice. Honestly, 3D is like, it's one of the things it's magic, right? So how is it possible that you can just have something in the browser rendering a 3D scene and rotating it and letting you play around with it? I think it's very cool.
It's a really cool niche, and one thing that I wanted is that it's easier for the Vue community to play with 3D because 3D is really intimidating at first. Like if you see a web page that has 3D, it's like, okay, I don't know how I will do that, right? It's not that difficult. And I would love if TresJS helped developers to start using 3D without that much knowledge.
Amazing. That's a great ambition. How performant is it, by the way? I mean, you're talking about the Vue custom renderer. Like, how performant is the Vue version, the trays, like compared to 3? Is it roughly the same? Obviously, there's a little bit of overhead associated with.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. I haven't tested yet. Like we have in the roadmap some stress testing, but I have done particle systems in TresJS, which normally are really heavy. Also, like moving lights and shadows are really expensive in terms of performance, and I have exactly the same performance as I was having in 3GS. So for now, we haven't detected any drop. Like there were some bugs that we fixed that were causing that because we were using reactivity wrong. But at this moment, it's quite performant. Or like it's never gonna be as performant as using plain 3GS, but it's not the DX is not costing performance on your end result. To be fair.
Okay. Okay, great. I mean, like it feels really performant, given that it's doing all of this on my computer. Okay, so what would make it a better module then?
I was thinking like we're gonna have more packages, right? So I was wondering if it's possible to pass in the configuration what modules can be installed. Like CentOS is one, right?
Yeah.
So there is another one that is post-processing that adds cool effects and so on.
Is that in the documentation or is it?
Actually, it doesn't have documentation yet. We're working on it.
Okay. And basically what you would want to do is run the extend command.
No,
Or-
actually, it will be another package. So that's something that I was wondering. Like, it's gonna be a different package. It's at TresJS post processing, but it will be nice if you can set up that in the Nuxt model. Like, for this project, I want to use, of course, the core is always gonna be there, but I want to use CentOS and post processing.
Okay. So, and that's just TresJS post-processing.
Yes. You need to put a dash between its post and dash processing.
Cool. Okay. And so, I mean, the way we enabled CentOS was just to add some auto imports. Do we have to do anything else for post-processing?
For post processing will be something like exactly the same, like adding all the components and composables.
Okay, so basically we have a reusable pattern, which is that for every module that we enable, we add some imports, we add some components. So, you know, we could say for const mod of CentOS and post process, and for every import in there, then we add it. So I think that should be very reasonable. We'll do a little bit of renaming.
There is an interesting question on the chat. It will be easier to add a hook, plugin hooks for that instead of the module. You mean to add different modules like post-processing?
I think maybe the point is, well, I guess the thing is, if all we have to do is add imports or components, it doesn't have to be run at the same time. It can be run at any point. So you don't need a hook. The end user could just add this. So we would probably want something like, we could actually do this dynamically. So we basically have CentOS and
I know what he means. So, for example, in the person that is using the Nuxt module in the end, right? To use the post-processing, they will need to install the post-processing package. So they can pass that to a function that is adding the auto imports, for example, or something like that.
Well, yeah, effectively we can I think that actually should give us what we want. So basically we can so if we just almost let them pass a sort of some strings in, and now, I mean, if we're shipping with these as dependencies, that's one thing, but otherwise we could actually just resolve the path from the users directory. I mean, this is a placeholder, but basically we should be able to do something like that. The user passes in any packages they want to enable. Or maybe we even detect them automatically. I guess we could probably detect if some of these core packages are installed in the user's dependency. Okay. And if so, we add the auto imports. What do you think?
Okay. I like that idea because it's more automatic. Like it doesn't require the user to pass an array of the, like we could detect with TresJS, like add TresJS in the user node modules.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, I would probably check the maybe the package JSON. like we don't want to do something which is too dependent on the package manager. But if there's some way of just sort of saying, like in the Nuxt project, what is the package JSON? So we have access to some utilities that let us do that. Interesting. Okay. So what we can do is something like, so it looks like any utilities we inject from post-processing they don't appear to have a types file.
No, types in it's not working still. Yeah.
Okay. So we can basically resolve package JSON from package types, which is another UnJS library, which basically will let us, maybe it's all caps, resolve package JSON. Yeah. And so what we can do is something like const package is await. Actually, we import package JSON because we don't just want to know where it is, but we actually want to use it. So we import package JSON, and basically we can pass it the Nuxt root directory. So Nuxt options root, and that will basically pull in the package JSON. So what we could say is so const core deps is package dependencies.
That's really powerful.
Thank you. Dev dependencies. And what we should be able to do at this point is let's see, filter the, oh, wait a second. This is going to be, it's an object. So we want object keys. I guess we could actually do it once. Come. Okay, so we could do something like that and then iterate over that array. And then that would basically mean you've got a sort of any core module that is installed in future gets this kind of behavior.
Okay.
It's going to break our playground because we haven't installed either CentOS or the other.
We haven't installed it in the playground. We did install it in the Nuxt module, but maybe it doesn't. That would be great because the approach normally is that the user install what they need to make the modules and the packages smaller.
Yeah, and then it's very much up to people. They just install and it automatically sets everything up for them.
Yep.
So that feels much better. Okay, so
maybe we can try the post-processing one.
okay, so let's add the dependencies to our playground, and so that it works. And let's first check that it works, I guess, because we have our dependencies. We'll add these, and we only need CentOS and post-processing.
Post-processing, which version is giving you? The 0.2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll reinstall. Oh, great, that's fast. And so hopefully everything that was working before, import package JSON is not a function. Okay.
The one that imported from, do we need to install it? Or?
It's not import package JSON. It's included by Nuxt, but you're right, we do need to add it to our package JSON. Okay, it's not import, it's require maybe? Maybe it is resolve package.json. But I feel like that read package.json, that's it. Okay. We want read package.json.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very promising. And is it still working? Yes. Okay. Good. So our new utility, our auto configuration utility, is working fine, which is nice.
Nice. Damn.
Okay. So how do we use post-processing?
So post-processing is really fun. I mean, it will be really complex to explain how it works under the hood because sometimes I don't understand how it works, to be fair. But I'm gonna pass you the code. Basically, when you create these renders, okay, when you create the WebGL render, then you can optimize way or a performant way of adding effects like a glitch or like creating objects that are glow or those kind of things, or the outline, for example, or playing video games, the cell shading and so on, sometimes are done in post processing. So that added layers on top of the render with the effects. So it adds, yeah, it adds like layers on top of what you're rendering. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why it needs to be like a little bit controlled. And Poimandres created a really nice abstraction for 3GS in general, which is basically what we are using under the hood. I'm going to copy and paste one of the examples. So playground, post-processing. No, this one is too much. Okay. Let's go source, core, component, playground. Okay, glitch demo. Okay, so it needs to be inside of suspense. Okay, where should I copy it? I copy it in the stream chat, or I copy in.
Up to you. If I need to copy and paste it, then stream chat is probably best.
Okay.
Oh.
So is effect composer? Yeah, the highlighting is beautiful, right? The formatting.
Okay, so we'll just place it inside the mesh or
Outside.
outside the mesh. Okay, like this.
Nice, it's taken. Okay.
And we have to have a second suspense. Is it enough that there's already a suspense in the tree, or do we need it specifically there?
Let's see how it goes. Like normally I put it.
Oh. Yeah.
Nice. It worked. Oh.
That is so cool. Like literally all we had to do was paste this and it added a glitch to our donut. That is incredible. Now I'm just going to try and break it.
You can pass several passes like bloom. We're working on outline. There is one for vignette, like a comic one.
Yeah.
There are so many.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, now I'm taking a risk. I removed the suspense just to see if it might be simpler with Nuxt, because we do already have a suspense in the tree. It might not be good enough. Like it might have to actually be around. No, it's working fine. So
it's not complaining about it.
Well, it doesn't seem to be.
That's really nice. Sometimes like we have some components that are asynchronous, especially where we are loading models. That's asynchronous, and we need to put the suspense on top because if not, the render API is complaining. But here it simply works.
Yeah. Well, Nuxt has a root suspense, which wraps the entire app in suspense. So that might be good enough for what we need in this case. It's not always the case. So sometimes you have to, because it only suspends the immediate children. So it might, we can see this might be good enough.
Hey, if it's like that, the better, because sometimes you need to wrap components and you cannot pass several components on the same suspense unless you put a wrapper on them.
Yeah.
Just got here. This is awesome. Donuts and glitches are some of my favorite things.
Nice. Thank you, Mark.
Lol. That's the, how do you say, the winner of the best comment so far.
For sure. Okay.
Oh man, I can't believe it worked so good. I'm super happy.
It does. I mean, I thought there was going to be a challenge, but it's the challenge of getting my own computer to stream video is a lot harder than the actual challenge of getting Trez to make a 3D scene glitchy in the browser. So
That's the best feedback I will have in my life. Like,
yeah. Now, what's this? It's complaining about. This is probably a
type issue that we have. Yeah.
But it's probably not coming from you. It's probably coming from the 3 types, because it's expecting ref to be a string, or is it?
Oh yeah.
It's
It's a template ref, right?
yeah. It
I had
should
to
be.
figure out.
It needs to be of type Trez object. I think it doesn't think that. Oh, I see. No, it's more specific. So what is the actual ref to? Is it to this mesh, or is it a Trez object, or is mesh a type of Trez, an implementation of Trez object?
Like ref works exactly the same in the view custom render. So, but instead of returning a DOM element, it returns a object, a TresJS object. So I don't know. Probably something that I'm doing in the types. I should add like an extend and put the ref to accept objects instead of strings. That's maybe what I need to do.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have a issue for that to investigate it. But it's happening even before the Nuxt model, something that we have in the library.
Okay. Well, anyway, it doesn't seem to be a big thing. Yeah. No, this is great. Okay, so what we have is basically we add Trez canvas. Everything else is we simply have to ensure that we don't render it on the server. And it feels to me like we could actually even do that for Trez canvas as well. So if I dropped this, is there a reason you want to render the canvas on the server? Because I think, and we've wrapped everything in our app.view in client only, because if we didn't do that, we were getting hydration error. So it feels to me like maybe it would be safer to do exactly the same thing with the canvas that we were doing with everything else. Oh, wait, are we still getting a hydration error? Oops.
Yeah, because like I have seen some implementations of 3GS on the server, but at the end it's double work. You're gonna render twice.
Yeah.
In the client and
so, like, there are 2 ways of doing this. Let's see. If we basically said, I think we did say Trez canvas is client only. So what I don't know is why or what is actually being rendered. So we don't actually have anything rendered. That's the interesting thing. So it's expecting something to be rendered in that case. So on client side, it
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
No, some people is writing me that the sound went off. User Queen.
Strange.
No audio, no video.
Is anyone else experiencing that?
For me, it's loading. Like the Twitch is loading in the lowest definition.
Let's just carry on.
It's lagging quite a bit. Okay. By the way, this is getting recorded.
Yes.
Nice. I probably like when you have it, and I guess you can download it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Okay, we can prepare like a YouTube video around it.
Yeah, good idea.
That will be pretty cool. It's freezing a lot for me too. Okay.
To be fair, we're not doing anything on the video at all. So, like, it would also be difficult to tell. But if it's lagging, it's weird.
Effect. Now we are a podcast.
Exactly. A podcast talking about 3D renderer.
Like you can see how it renders and that's the glitch. Yeah. Like absolutely.
We accidentally applied the glitch to ourselves as well, and that's what's going on.
I wonder if OBS goes into sleep mode in Mac OS or something. I never experienced that.
That is an interesting thought. Well, I have a couple of things to chase up on in terms of OBS and its settings, which I am going to take a look at. Basically, yeah, it's not nice.
Have you used the Studio? The Twitch Studio?
No, I haven't.
Like I was using OBS, but I have to configure it myself. And then the Twitch Studio started working nice. Also allows you to like customize the scene as well. It's like OBS, but for Twitch, and it goes directly. So maybe it's better for the next ones.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, it is particularly bad whenever I'm sharing with someone else. Basically, I have a very wide screen. So it's my laptop's already rendering that, and then it has to share your window with OBS, and then it also has to share the screen to you as well as to OBS. So there's a lot of video stuff going around, and I think the video card is not quite strong enough to cope with all of that. I don't think it is actually about heavy applications going on. The OBS says CPU is at 7%, so it's telling me that it's not overloaded.
Maybe it's the encoder. It could be
Maybe.
the encoder.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It probably is encoding.
Okay, let's see what we can do. I'm refreshing to see if it gets better, but try doing something in the IDE to see.
Okay.
Nah, it's lagging like hell.
Let's just pause it for a second and let me see if I can change the
Okay.
Encoding preset. Not sure if I can do that live or whether I'll have to reconnect. It's using hardware encoding is what it's doing.
Okay. Let me check my OBS.
And it's it's strange.
So output hardware. Yeah, I have the same video. Hardware Apple H264, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that should be the issue then.
The worst case scenario, I think Okay. What we could do, what else do you fancy doing, Alvaro?
Actually, like I think we cover everything that was important, because right now it's gonna be more like okay, the repository where we push it and the configuration of the module itself, the things that we want to put. But that's something that I was thinking of doing this week before publishing, because we also need some docs to explain.
Okay. In that case, let's go to audio only between the two of us. So
Okay.
I'll drop the screen sharing, which I think should immediately make things better for us, hopefully. And it might be that all we need to do is polish this up. And do you want a pull request to upstream to Trace, or what would be best from your end?
Actually, like it will be how we can do it, because it will be another repo. It's not in a specific repo that we can create a pull request. It will be its actual repo.
Okay.
Like if I give you how you call permissions in GitHub, you can actually publish as a repository inside of the organization, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Teams people. Okay, so I'm going to invite you. Done. Here we are. Live. Okay. We can also create new teams and repositories. Okay, cool. Okay, you should have the invite.
Perfect. Van Ling is remotely debugging my system.
It's not easy. I struggle a lot the other day, also with the like with 3D. I managed to do it with the Twitch studio, but it's true that I didn't have a guest. So that could be also an additional thing with the network and so on.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
want, we can try out with the other day, like another stuff that we wanted to build. We can do it with the Twitch studio to figure out.
I think
Same encoder for stream and record. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think it is. I think the issue is definitely the fact that I am sharing my screen and I have a separate window, which I think it's how we've made the video work. So I think definitely what I'll try something like ping next time, and I think that I hope that will resolve it. Also, the output mode is just simple. So there's no, I've not configured it specifically, but once we stop streaming, I'll go and try and take more control of that, and maybe even try and test it with a stream. But I would suggest that what we do right now is take a 5-minute break. If there's not much more that we're going to do together, then we could draw a line under it and do something different in the next bit of the stream. Which might also resolve the issue of the lag. And we could another day pick up TresJS.
Okay, that will be awesome. Yep. Okay, so we take a 5-minute break and we come back.
Yeah, sounds good. 5-minute break, everybody. And see you then. Okay. We are back. Is this working for others? Like, can you see this? Is it laggy? Because Alvaro has said goodbye. Okay, if I don't hear anything, I'm going to assume it's good news. I think what we can do is basically wrap up the creation of the module and hopefully push it up for some review. Maybe make the PR live. Okay, and I think we're good stream-wise. Seems to be a much higher, much healthier FPS now that we don't have Google Meet also on the call. So basically we are, let's see, what are we doing? So we're adding Tres Canvas. We are auto-installing various core modules. And then we are also adding the composables from the core. So all of these things from the core, I think we can separate these out into here. And then we can treat the all of the additional core modules separately. And I don't think we need any kind of plugin, so we can actually remove some of this stuff there. Great. We don't have to import those directly. Okay, this is all good. Great. Okay, so let's make a couple of changes to this. So we're going to update my module for trays. We're going to change my module here to Nuxt trays, I think, probably, at least to start with. Okay. Amazing. And we'll also, I think, need to change your org too. You can see me. That is the idea. Like, hopefully it's not a bad result. Or maybe this is just a sort of, what is it? TresJS Nuxt, is that the sort of idea? And then we can call it not Nuxt trays, but just trays. Beautiful. Wait a second. That will be trays Nuxt. Okay, so we are doing a little branding. You can say integration for Nuxt. And what else? We're going to install package types as our own dependency. And I think we're sort of wrapping up. We haven't talked about what options we might want to have. Oh, yes, we did. We said, no, we're auto-detecting that. But we might have sort of additional core dependencies. We could do something like sort of modules, maybe. And that's just going to be an array of strings. And basically, we can, at this point, move some of our configuration into here. So you can actually have a little function for your module defaults. And this is the thing that we can actually move in there. So we could do this. So what we really want is to pull in our core dependencies from the package. And so what we do is we return our modules to be those core deps, as far as defaults are concerned. What's the issue here? Oh, maybe it has to be non-async. If that's the case, we can't really do that. We'll have to move it out. So we'll just say our defaults are going to going to add our condition. Did I literally just get disconnected? And we're going to also respect whatever was there before. So we do that, or is custom element tag. And that way we should basically be respecting whatever is in existence. Okay, so I'm guessing this is fully defined all the way up to it. Great, so we should then be able to wait a second. Should I call it modules? Oh, I see. Right, I think are fine here. So we are going to remove that from our Nuxt config in the playground, meaning we basically have no options required. There we go. Let's try this once more. Cool. Got type support there for trays. We have got the custom element being set, I think, here. Is it still working? Yeah, good. We have to sort out the mismatch. So we are adding this as a client-only component. I guess that's the thing we need to sort out. So ideally, I think what we can do is for our custom element, we should be able to say, we might be able to make this work by setting this for the server build, as in allowing a custom element to be TresCanvas for the server build, but not the client. It's a possible solution. Another might be we add a server placeholder. Let's see if that can work. The font is called dank mono. It's dank.sh is the okay, server placeholder. It's weird, isn't it, to access GitHub without being signed in? You suddenly see that there's like a menu at the top of the page with things to click on and pricing options. Definitely not something I normally see. So, oops, close that, please. Okay, so what shall we try? It's better if we don't require people to put I think let's add our own component and we can handle that. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is create a component ourselves, components, and we're going to call it TresCanvas view. And what it's going to do is, maybe this is a bad idea. Let's see. Import TresCanvas from TresJS core, and we're just going to render a client only around. This is not, I don't feel this is great. What kind of props does it have? Probably a lot of props. But we might be able to just import them. Okay. Yeah, that's probably fine. So we do define props Tres canvas props. So we're going to pass the types along, and then we're just going to render it here. This is probably not at all necessary. But if we do this, okay, let's try this. Interesting. That's very strange. So we haven't really changed anything about that. Oh, it also needs a slot, doesn't it? We probably won't do this. I'm just curious to see what it's doing. Okay, what's going on with the post-processing? Okay, we have our package JSON, which is telling us that it's got an import. And is it a type module? Okay, that's the issue. Yeah, that's an easy fix. So basically, it's fine. It is being generated as a module, but let's just open it up. TresJS Tres, and if it's in here as well. Oh no, it will probably be a different repo. Is there a post-processing one as well? Yeah. Let's see if I can sign in. Interesting. Is this going to work? Let's see. Let's try something else. Authenticator app. Right. So if we basically, I think this is literally a one-line code change. Which oh no, it does have type module, so no, it's totally fine. I don't know why I didn't see that. Why would it not? Wait a second. Post-processing, it's not Alvaro's module, it's something underneath it. So we have to probably add that module to our transpile array. So Oops. Yep. Okay. All good. Oh, no camera found in the scene. Oh, probably because of how I've done the slots. And I'm not sort of passing everything on properly. Okay, well, assuming this client only, let's just take a step back and add it back. Are you saying that the actual warning is not anything we need to worry about? This is interesting. Something is not rendering. I can only think the issue is actually that I think it's not a trace canvas. I think this is a Nuxt issue here. I think basically we need to add we need to do something a little bit different. So add template, get contents. I'm going to create a virtual file, which is basically just going to re-export something. So we're going to have a quick look at what we do in Nuxt. Just to refresh my memory. So we have got our packages here. We've got our, within Nuxt, we have a number of ad hoc modules. And we have our components ad hoc module, which basically handles loading client-only components. Basically, this is what we do. Seems fine. When we scan, we detect the mode of the component. Actually, I'm not sure. I think we were fine. We were loading the component correctly. So adding it, that is the right way of doing it. So maybe it is a case that what we were doing was okay. We could just ignore the camera warning because there is in fact a camera there. Let's try that again. Because it anyway is not throwing a hydration error. And the camera is clearly present. So I think that might be fine. Cool. Right, this all seems like this is definitely going in the right direction. We could add a test suite if we wanted to. So basically, we typically will pull in a fixture like this, and we will make an assertion against it. So just delete that. And when we're pulling in our app, what are we expecting to render? We want this to render a div with a span in the middle, which is what the client only is rendering for us. So this is the crudest kind of test, but it renders client only component. And like the benefit of this kind of test is what it's doing is it will just guarantee nothing breaks about that server render. We can also do a client-side test. So we could do something like it has no errors on the client. And so in this case, we could just enable our browser testing mode as well and pull in a create page utility. So we can try this. So the page is a playwright utility. So we can just create a sort of a page. It's going to give us the ability to make some assertions. So we could do something like logs is an array of strings. And let's say page on console. What is this? What is it passing into us? Console? Maybe it's something else. Page. Oh, we probably need to add playwright. Okay. So we have on the console event, we are going to receive, I think, text type. So type is going to be like error warning or something like that. And so we're just going to, if type equals error, no, error. Then logs push text. And then we expect, we basically expect logs to be empty, right? Thanks, Alvaro. Great. Okay, so it should have no errors on the client side. We might just make this a little bit more solid by just creating the page, and then once we register this, then we'll navigate, go to, and we use in this case the this URL helper, which is going to resolve the page that we want to go to the particular host and port that are being used in the testing environment. Okay, so I think that's a reasonable test. Let's just check that it runs. vtest run test basic. Oh, it needs a root directory. Oh, it needs to be upper level. It is running a build. So it's building the app, and then it is running all of this. Oh, we need to install Playwright and its dependencies. But I feel like, but that does mean the first bit was fine. So the first test was probably right, but the second one, it was missing something. Let's see, what else are we going to do? We're going to initialize our Git repository. Oops. Yes, it will, Alvaro. It certainly will. If you want to see how to do that, there is actually a template that exists at the moment on the Nuxt starter repo, which is a DevTools module, DevTools, which shows what it looks like to have a module with DevTools enabled. So this example module has its setup DevTools UI from this sort of module DevTools file alongside it. And that basically is responsible for enabling DevTools. And it's not hugely complex. It's basically an object that you pass, like a custom tab, which has got an icon, a name, title, and an iframe. And that iframe is your responsibility for serving up. So it sort of hands back responsibility to you. And then obviously this is an example of how to do that. So it would be very simple to add that here. Oh yes, let's run the test again. Oh, thank you. Okay, so you do actually have an error of some kind. Cannot read properties of undefined, reading initializer. Is this really an error? That's a bit interesting. That's very interesting. Let's just check again. Close. Okay, so I'm not seeing any errors there. Let's try building it, just making sure that works. Let's start the playground, see why. Okay, this is fine. So there are no actual errors coming. And yes, the build works, which is obviously, that is a very nice thing. It's on the large side, but I think that's just TresJS. Okay, let's try this again. Let's just try the actual test suite once more. And readme. Cool. Oops. And I'm glad you do. Okay, so basically we have got, what will we say? I think probably a lot of this can very happily turn over to Alvaro to make some magic happen. But if we try and publish this to TresJS, this isn't going to work. Create Git. This is really just a way of getting it up to Alvaro off of the computer here. He's the wizard that's going to make this happen. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we hopefully have something up there to be, something can be done with that, something can be created from it. Obviously the README is entirely empty, and Alvaro will want to add his own stamp to it in terms of like config and stuff like that. But it should be pretty much there, right? I guess we can try what this is like when we install it in an end user project, but I think I'm generally happy with the way it's going. Great. Oh, we can do one quick PR to Tres, which is, I think we have global components. It's been so much fun, Alvaro. I'm so sorry about the stream. It must have been it was a pain for everyone, but it must have been a particular pain for you. Yeah, really sorry about that. But thank you so much. It has been lovely having you on, and I'm really pleased about this as well. It'll be very nice to have people using Trace with Nuxt. Let's do the latest, please. And let's just do a quick edit here. Weird. So basically, what this is about is this type global components. It's an interface so it can be extended. And we can do this to basically extend it without overwriting the types. Although I'm guessing probably it's working at the moment, but this I think feels more like what we should be doing. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, I think that is it for now for trays. Does anyone have anything else that would be good to dive into or have a quick look at? And hi, Rooster. Okay, see you later. And thank you again for the subs as well. Does it have a watch flag? No, no, it doesn't. We have a stub flag and we have a prepare command, but nothing else. Not yet. I think this is super minimal. Like it feels like this is the entire code required to render a donut rotating and glitching. Like that feels very nice and minimal in terms of an implementation. Like it's easy to understand what's happening. You can click through into the components to see, you know, the types. You get sort of autocomplete. Like it feels like this is a very, very good way to consume it. And you also get, you know, all of the sort of possible components, of which there are quite a lot, easily, like that way. So it feels nice. It feels nice to me. But yeah, we'll have to see what it's actually like once published, etc., etc., etc. So watch the space, and particularly, I guess Alvaro might tweet something out once it's up and running. Yeah, that's a great use case for that. Okay, see you later. Good stuff. Well, if nobody has any bug or anything that would be helpful to dive into, then I'm tempted to say it's been fun, and I appreciate everybody's forbearance and sort of being willing to put up with some stream issues. And I don't know what exactly I'm going to do to make sure this never happens again, but I'm going to do my best. Anyway, it's been so much fun. I really love this. Oh, I see. Yes, watching components in the side module to rebuild the package. Well, the thing is, you shouldn't need to watch with Nuxt module build, because with the stub mode, it will point everything to the source files, including the components, so that you can just edit the components, and it's hot module reload in the end project. But follow up with me later about that if it's not working that way for you. Anyway, that's all for today. So see you later. See you later this week. Bye.